Hello everybody, Sean here from Atomic Productions, and today we're going to be taking a look at the new Predator movie, Prey, streaming on Hulu right now. Of course, as always, if you enjoyed this kind of content and you want to see more, make sure to like and subscribe in order to support the channel. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. So first off, this movie is a prequel to all of the Predator movies taking place in the 1700s in North America. This Predator in specific is terrorizing a North American tribe more than anything else, and I really like this perspective that this movie took. Usually all other Predator movies take place with modern or futuristic technology, so it's nice to see a Predator go up against bows and arrows and hatchets and things like that. It was a nice change of pace. For the most part, I liked the two main characters, Naru and Tabe. They're siblings, and I liked their development that went on throughout the movie, and I liked to see Naru's relationship with the other members of her tribe, and that aspect of the movie I really liked. In my opinion, these characters were not poorly written. I enjoyed Naru's brother Tabe more than I actually liked Naru. The entire movie actually had some pretty good suspense going at some points, and the action was great. I thought the effects were okay for a straight-to-TV movie, technically, and I did really, really like all of the action scenes in this movie. I thought the gore was well done. I thought the kills were satisfying, and I thought the sound design in this movie was fantastic. Now, as for the Predator itself, before we get into the spoiler territory, I thought that the mask it had was actually pretty cool. I like the idea that Predator armor or technology being fashioned out of something other than metal. I thought the bone mask was actually a really cool feature, and probably my favorite aspect of this Predator design. I also like this Predator's personality. You could tell it was more savage, this being called the feral Predator, than most other Predators that we've seen. It enjoyed using its hands. It enjoyed being physical more than ranged combat in this movie, which I thought was pretty good, since usually in these Predator movies, you'll see them rely heavily on their plasma casters or something else throughout the duration of the movie. It was a nice change of pace. This Predator was very different from all others that we've seen. Unfortunately, that also goes into my complaints, but we will get into that as soon as we hit spoilers. So spoilers ahead. So the way Naru avoids the Predator in this movie, and other characters, avoids the heat-seeking technology of this Predator, is a special kind of flower that makes the blood in people cold. So there's a flower that Naru uses to hide herself and others from the Predator's heat vision, and I think it is one of the worst plot devices I've seen in a Predator movie. Not only does it not make any biological sense, it also doesn't make sense to the plot, as she figured out how quickly that this flower is the way that you can hide from the Predator. A sort of substance that makes your blood so cold you're unable to be picked up by heat vision should be lethal when ingested, but they are popping it like candy in this movie. And, like I said earlier, the way that she realizes after the first go there is a person on the ground that is missing a leg, that she gives the flower, and when the Predator shows up and doesn't see him right off the bat, she figures out that the flower is the reason that he couldn't be seen by the Predator. But that doesn't really make too much sense. It should have taken her longer to figure it out, because that method of finding it out, it wasn't that straightforward, it wasn't that obvious. The man was legless and on the ground, not moving. That should have been the reason why the Predator didn't see him. Just a thought. Now, here comes my biggest complaint about the entire movie, and that is this Predator is so different from all other Predators that we've seen. Now, I'm not referring to the technology or maybe even the armor, while I will say that the coloration or armor or lack thereof of this Predator gave it a little boring of an aesthetic. I did like some of the details, like the dreads and the mask, like I said, and the weaponry. The weaponry that the Predator had was really cool, but where my main grievances lie is the face design. I think this Predator's face is so ugly, and not in the way that it should be.
You're one ugly motherfucker.
This Predator is hideous. It looks kind of like a frog. It doesn't look right. It doesn't look how a Predator should. There's way too much space between the eyes. The mandibles aren't designed correctly. And overall, it just looks kind of goofy. And it almost ruined the movie for me. Now, I do understand that's kind of a stupid detail to have an entire movie ruined for you. But when you're talking about a Predator, a monster movie, at its core, creature design should be number one. And this Predator didn't look right. Now, if you were to keep the mask on, then we could talk. This Predator looked really, really cool. But with the mask off, all sense of fear or any like towards this creature was lost. Now, my final big point about this movie is the way that the movie ends with the predator being killed. I think that this is the worst way a predator has been killed to my memory. Thinking about it now, the predator is killed with its own technology, its own targeting system on the helmet, which doesn't make any sense because it is its own technology. It should understand how its targeting system works. The way the predator is killed, it tries to kill Naru with a floating arrow kind of thing, and its mask's targeting system redirects the weapon straight into its head. Now, when you think about it like that, this predator has to be the dumbest that we've seen, which is disappointing coming from a race that is supposed to be incredibly intelligent. Now, I feel like Naru's character development didn't earn this win. At the beginning of the movie, she fails to hunt and kill a deer, which is okay in and of itself. Later in the movie, she fails to kill a mountain lion when facing off against it directly. It goes from here to her battles with the predator where she ends up killing it, where she says that she's smarter than the predator and that's why she deserved her win. I didn't think the win was deserved at all, and when you think about it, if you've seen this movie, this predator takes a beating throughout the entire film, so by the time that Naru is ready to kill it, it was pretty much already dead. Actually, her brother Tabe did a majority of the damage to the predator. So I don't really feel like this win was deserved from Naru specifically when she goes on her entire monologue at the end of the movie at how she bested the predator. Now, overall, this movie isn't that bad, despite how much complaining I just did, and actually, I will give this movie a 7 out of 10. While writing this review, I considered giving this movie a 6.5, but I do understand that this movie does deserve a 7 out of 10, and it is one of the better Predator movies that we've seen. However, that does not mean that there isn't things I wish were done differently. But alas, I'm just happy this movie isn't The Predator. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I am Sean from Atomic Productions, and I want to thank you all for watching this video. Like I said at the beginning, if you want to support the channel, consider liking and subscribing. I have 2 more Predator videos coming to you guys this week, and I hope you stay tuned for those as well. I've been Sean from Atomic Productions, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your night.